We're rich, boys. That's how I'm going to feel when the bull market actually starts, dude. What is going on? What is 226? We touched 208 yesterday. What? The whole market, everything's freaking out. We got stories today. Japan's freaking out. Big meatball shit. India's Madras High Court has legally recognized XRP as property, granting it protection under criminal law. These fucking criminals run up on you, bro. You're going to be able to, your XRP's safe from the pirates, man. That's wow, dude, this guy's holding the XRP token. No, but that's good, though. That's what I mean. You need these things written in law so then people can, the institutions and shit can engage with them, because that's who's sending us, guys. Retail is not going to get us to the numbers that people are talking about. It's the ball is literally in their court now. Like, that's Korea and Asian markets getting slammed. We have some contagion occurring globally. Bulls are worried about this gov shutdown, where historically markets give two fucks about that. This is something else happening. Yeah, this is the... Oh, dude, now that I read it worded like that, now that makes me nervous, dude. All I think of is the Great Reset. You could argue 2020 was the Great Reset, I think, but that seemed more Operation Lockstep. Breaking. Japan's stock market falls nearly 4.5% after the open as global technology stocks continue to decline. Scary times. I think we get this gov reopening. I think that 1 trillion starts flowing, but I don't think the ball really starts moving until Q1 2026 when the Fed, I think, starts printing that money. That's what worries me about this too, is like they could drag us along for another good 2 months. It literally comes down to Yu-Gi-Oh! You gotta have your heart in the cards, Yugi, the heart of the card. Okay, Quantos, not to be confused with Quiznos. They issue regulated stablecoins for Europe, is what it seems. The issuers of regulated stablecoins, blah, 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 have joined the Ripple ecosystem, bringing their Euro and USD denominated stablecoins to the XRP ledger. I would like an article attached to this, but if that's true, I'm just going to take his word for it. This guy's good. All in crypto. Right as polls are about to close, Senate Dems are making moves toward reopening the government, with over 12 in serious talks to strike a deal per Punchbowl. Sounds like a reliable source, dude. Punchbowl. It was all a game. They used the shutdown to hopefully juice their leftist base turnout for the elections. You are a disgrace structure. All right, I don't need all that. Just give me the facts, please. And I don't even know if that's the fact, but I guess we'll find out if it just so happens that they work a deal out. If they work a deal out within the next 3 days, it's very obvious. If it's any sooner than that, it's in your face. I truly believe the strategic Bitcoin reserve is the only solution to offset our national debt. Like, if you're being honest, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's Bitcoin, but I think crypto is the way to do it, dude. Because yet again, this is important shit. Because if Brad, like, we know Brad and them has met with the president, we know they are connected to all that and been in bed with all the, not doesn't mean they were implementing the technology, but brushing shoulders with all these, because you'd like to think they have a plan. And you'd like to think that plan is something as simple as that and in your face. And Trump, yet again, I've said this before in one of the couple of videos, he's like jokingly or just kind of said out loud. Yet again, he just says things, but he said that. He goes, oh, I think we're gonna, I don't know, maybe we could erase the debt with a little crypto check. Like that type of shit. He's flown it out a couple of times. Yet again, he just says that. But I don't know if he's thinking that or if he's hearing behind the scenes, because Scott Besson is his right-hand guy. David Sachs is his right-hand guy. So those guys are reporting to him. And those are the guys in bed, especially like David Sachs and shit. He actually knows what's going on, whether you like David Sachs or not. His last name is Sachs. But he brushes shoulders with like Elon and all those guys. He knows what he says AI and cryptos are. That's what he is. That's his role. So, because if you did know how important XRP was supposed to be, if it achieves what it set out to achieve and it looks like it and they're all connected to them, it would make more sense for them. I mean, it would make sense for them, the government-wise, to position themselves in probably as many cryptos as you could, but you would think they would know the value of what XRP was going to be, because if it's something as important as being like the first kind of like official digital dollar, the RLUSD, that's what it seems like. It seems like they're positioning RLUSD to literally be the equivalent in terms of like transparency, trust, and backing, and fucking secure, like all that shit. So why would they stock up Bitcoin? But they have been stealing a bunch. That's how they get it. They don't want to buy it with taxpayer money. Dude, I always remember I ran into a Bitcoin maxi. I'll save this for another video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue that story, dude. It was fucking crazy. Dude was a mental case. Breaking: BlackRock exec at Ripple Swell. The market is ready for trillions are coming on chain. This might have been the most electric moment of Ripple Swell 2025. Maxwell Stein, a representative from BlackRock, took the stage and straight up said what everyone's been waiting to hear. We've seen what early adopters of crypto have done. They've shown us what's possible, and now the market is ready for broader adoption. Let me hear him. Get me excited this early.
You know, who owns traditional securities today, right? If you take away the distinction that they're tokenized, that market will come, but in the short term, we need to prove out the utility. And there's two sort of separate segments of users that I think are going to be the earliest adopters here, and we need that market momentum in order to prove the utility to actually get the larger players to eventually come in.
So they are really seeking regulatory clarity. If they have regulatory...
Dude, this fucking aggravates me, man. It's the government in the way again. In the way, but it's all orchestrated. I'm losing my mind.
They understand that the rules are there with the investor protection as
we're right at the finish line.
Then we can work within those rules, and I think they're all expressing an enormous amount of interest in getting more engaged in the digital asset ecosystem. Obviously, they're doing a lot of work already to tokenize fixed income, tokenize bonds, create stable coins. I mean, you're seeing actually a lot of activity within the banks themselves to get engaged in the ecosystem. But I think to get them really engaged in the markets, there has to be regulatory clarity.
Yeah, no shit, dude. That's what I mean. Like, they're not going to be throwing their nut money all around when, like... Dude, they don't... was that the fucking Weather Channel, bro? What is this? What is this?
Good morning, Charlie. Why the long face?
What do you think, Pim?
Charlie, what happened?
I don't know, Pim. I don't know.
Alan? What the fuck?
What the fuck? Dude, Alan is the best character. Oh, man. Yeah, they don't have laws. They're not going to blow their load. They don't have laws, so they don't know what they're protected from. Yo, when rich people know that they're protected from something, they don't care. They'll do anything. If we haven't seen that, like overseas and just all over the world, bro, if they're like, oh, I ain't going to get punished for it, yeah, beep, and send the fucking shockwave. These people are crazy, man. Watch the Oppenheimer movie if you haven't. When they're deciding who to drop the bomb on, like where in Japan they want to do it, I don't know if this is true or dramatized for the movie, but yet again, I mean, them sitting around planning this happened. And he's like, what about Okinawa or one of the places? And the other guy, he goes, nah, I don't want it there. Me and my wife have been there on vacation. It's a pretty nice place. Pick this place instead. Comes down to who you know. Here's the short selling temper tantrum live. Okay. So apparently Michael Burry, the big short Michael Burry, has been shorting Palantir and Nvidia, or put puts on them, which I'm not honestly sure what a put is as opposed to a short. Maybe it's the same thing. But this is the Palantir CEO apparently going on CNBC and having a meltdown the fact that people are shorting Palantir.
When I hear short sellers attacking what I believe is clearly the most important software company in America, and therefore...
Yeah, because it's Skynet, you asshole.
...in the world in terms of our impact, simply to make money, and trying to call the AI revolution into question, where we have this anomalous numbers, 114, rule of 40, et cetera. It just is super triggering, because these people, they could pick on any company in the world. They have to pick on the one that actually helps people, that actually...
Oh, come on, yeah.
...has made money for the average person, that is actually supporting our warfighters. Why do they have to go after us? And I'll tell you what, it's crazy motivating, because I'll tell you why the short sellers are constantly getting screwed by Palantir. Because every time they short us, we just are like tripling down on getting the better numbers, and part, honestly, to make them poorer. But okay, so
what the hell?
The question of, like,
he's the CEO,
the actual power of the business and what is it worth. I mean, at the end of the day, one of the things that is actually in the book, the biography, and that I actually think that you always have to ask is the person persuasive or are they right? And across all sorts of movements, political, I mean, you see this on the regressive part of the Democratic Party. We're about to probably have a complete disaster. I was born in New York. But if you actually said, do these things actually
oh my
work?
God, I forgot that happened
like, of course I'm not going to vote for that. But instead they ask, does it work in theory? The theoreticians, you have to ask, how often have you been right? And Palantir is about pragmatic decisions that create unfair advantages for America and its allies. And on that, we've been right for almost 20 years on all major decisions, and I believe will be right going forward. Now, you could argue, I don't know, like they're constantly like, but they thought Palantir was overvalued at 10. They thought it was overvalued at 20. I'm not even here saying what the valuation is. I'm just saying find a company in the world that has a rule of 114, that has U.S. commercial growing at 121%, that aggregate growth in the U.S. is 77%, that has throwing off free cash flow in a way that's anomalous, and that is fully aligned with our customers.
Yo, he's still yapping.
But they're in the business of being skeptical and being wrong, and we're in the business of giving an unfair advantage to American workers, American warfighters, and our investors.
Oh, dude, he sounds like a whiny girl. What the hell? Yo, that's crazy because yet again, Palantir is basically what Skynet will be. It's either, I guess, arguably that or OpenAI. But I remember Alex Jones on one of the yet again, we're getting crazy talk now. We're getting crazy, but it's so crazy. He was basically saying, I think he said Google, but I assume these are all kind of offshoots of each other. Yet again, just seeing how the big tech deploys people, especially in the case of Ripple and then Stellar and then the space companies and connection to Elon and PayPal, they all have cross-pollination, dude. Like how like me and you, we have our group of friends, and then there's some people like, oh, we just kind of know whatever. Like, dude, they have that, but for people doing the craziest things in life, it's such a girl response, and not like to be sexist or anything, but it's so whiny. I guess like. So you want someone that emotional that this would be his first reaction, you think, running the company for something as serious as that? Bitcoin will save everyone. Okay, but notice how during the longest government shutdown in history, rising inflation, mass layoffs, collapsing consumer confidence, surging national debt, and socialists taking over, it all comes tumbling down. Bitcoin is tightly correlated with the stock market and will crash 10 times harder than everything else. It's the single worst asset to hold during a recession. Every time in history when the economy weakens, Bitcoin loses 85 to 95% of its value. And it will again. The whole store value or inflation hedge narrative was entirely fabricated by maxis. Satoshi never described the Bitcoin that way because it isn't. Oh, that's going to make a lot of people mad. And this is what got me sent on this rabbit hole of I didn't even know there was basically a $1 trillion bounty. Like I didn't truly understand the severity of it in a sense and how it really is like a game of poker between two factions, and it's something that important with $1 trillion pot hanging above your head, bro, and everyone has their own interests. Like it's the greatest, not yet again, not in a good way, but it's the craziest game of fucking like Candyland, Monopoly, fucking. And that's what they were saying. That could be the rejuvenation we need to start seeing the money flow again, and then that helps our assets, that helps our bags. This is a really good post. I yet again, I don't fully trust this guy or what, but yet again, he could say things I agree with. I thought this was an interesting thread. He says, I know no one wants to hear bullish ideas and everyone is scared and wants to fling poo at each other, but the road to Valhalla is getting very close. That's what I'm thinking, bro. That's all I could see my eye on. If global liquidity is the single most dominant macro factor, then we must focus on that. Remember, the only game in town is rolling $10 trillion in debt. Everything else is a sideshow. This is the game of the next 12 months. Could be a bumpy ride. Currently, the Gov shutdown has forced a sharp tightening of liquidity as the TGA builds up with nowhere to spend it. That's that kind of vault I was talking about there. All this money's just kind of been going in an escrow a little bit in a sense, and it's been piling up. Now it's at $1 trillion. This is not offset by the ability to drain the reverse repo. It is drained, and QT drains it further. This is hitting markets, and in particular crypto, which is the most liquidity driven. TradFi asset managers have had one of their worst years of performance versus benchmark, and now having to chase markets, and that is allowing tech to be more stable in crypto. 401k flows help too. If this liquidity drain keeps going longer, stocks will get hit hard too. However, as soon as the Gov shutdown ends, the Treasury begins spending $250 billion to $350 billion in a couple of months. QT ends and the balance sheet technically expands. The dollar will likely begin to weaken again as liquidity begins to flow. Tariff negotiations will have largely been completed, removing uncertainty. Ongoing billish issuance increases, adding more liquidity via bank balance sheets and money market funds and stablecoins. That's the key one. Ongoing rate cuts. We will have economic weakness from the shutdown that will add to the evidence that rates need to come lower, but no, there is no recession. SLR changes free up more of the bank's balance sheets, allowing for credit expansion. The Clarity Act will get passed. giving the crypto regs so desperately needed for large-scale adoption by banks, asset managers, and businesses overall. That's the key. There's so many keys, but that's one of the fucking main ones, dude. The BBB then kicks into goose the economy into midterms. The entire system is now being geared toward a strong economy and strong market in 2026 for these elections. Makes sense. That's kind of what I've figured too, is that they need things to be good at least by then. So like they had to pull the band-aid off in the beginning. There's so much to think about. It's crazy. China will continue to expand its balance sheet. Japan will work to strengthen the yen and also fiscally stimulate. The ISM will rise as rates fall and tariff uncertainty drops away. You just need to get through the window of pain, and the liquidity flood lies ahead. Guys, I'm going to continue this party over on the Patreon. If you want to become a member of the Minutemen, you could do that by clicking the link in the description, becoming a member. It supports the channel, allows me to keep doing these types of videos. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, notifications on the YouTube video. Appreciate it. And yeah, we got Ripple Swell bull posts. We got Greg. Bitcoin price is dropping because there's more sellers than buyers. We got the CEO of Evernorth, who was basically deployed from Ripple, and talking about locking into the XRP ledger. Michael Burry's Palantir fucking short. There's so much crazy stories. Come on over into the Patreon. I appreciate it. I will see you over there right now. Let's go.